Well, what is a brain orgasm? And that's a really good question. And it's a good thing to know because brain orgasms and learning to have brain orgasms is an amazing way to increase our memory and our mental function. So let's first look at the question of what is an orgasm, because there's a lot of misconception about what an orgasm is. By this, I mean a lot of people will equate an orgasm with a male ejaculation, or they will think that orgasms only happen during sex. And both of these are not quite the full idea of what an orgasm is. So basically, an orgasm is the result of a buildup of energy that starts to cause an energetic vibration that can cause contractions or vibrations in certain parts of our bodies. Now, most people will probably only experience orgasm during sex, although it's not unusual for people to actually experience urethra orgasms while they're peeing, for example, because of the friction of the pee passing through the urethra. Now, people have high levels of energy in their body, and these are often people who will meditate, and particularly people who practice qigong or tai chi. They tend to build like an awful lot of energy in their body. And of course, from qigong, we have also sexual qigong, sexual kung fu, which allows us to really build up that energy in the body and basically to have basically a relationship with an orgasm, so we can move the vibration of orgasm through our body using our mind, moving it to any part of the body, including moving it to the organs to vibrate and heal the organs, and also moving it through the brain. So if we imagine, and I'll use the example of the male because it's the most easiest example, but it can just as equally be applied for females. So the male is used to having sex, thrusting in and out, and ejaculating, and in a brief orgasm that might last a few seconds, probably not even a minute. So the ancient Taoist practice called returning the jing to feed the brain, what the man would do is he would learn to meditate and move his sexual energy through the body. Now, one of the most important part of this is being aware of your breathing, slowing your breathing down, and really creating this slow relationship with your own energy and the energy of your partner if you're making love when you're doing this. So by doing this, the sexual energy would be moved up the spine and into the brain. Now, to start learning how to do this, it's important to practice inner emotional alchemy. So to learn the inner smile, how to use the healing sounds to heal our organs, to really start loosening up and freeing up the energy in our whole bodies. And then it's important to start learning to move the energy in the microcosmic orbit. So to move the chi energy at first, not the sexual energy at first, to move the chi energy. And then when we feel that we have this nice flowing of chi in the body, we can then start to allow the sexual energy to move through the body. So once we've actually opened up the body through the microcosmic orbit, we can basically quite easily move the sexual energy, and sometimes it will just start moving on its own. So by when we want to have a brain orgasm, so say for example, like when you practice this a lot, which I practice this a lot, you can connect with the energy, connect with the sexual energy, which it doesn't have to necessarily be in a state of arousal, but to connect with that sensation, to pull it up the spine. So I'm going to just move my body, bring it up into the brain, focus it into my brain, and then just set off a vibration in the brain. So I notice that when I do this once, I get actually it's a whole sensation in my body, but particularly in my brain, that I get a lot more sort of like clarity going on with my eyes. The colors become a lot more vivid. That's really interesting because an amazing looking butterfly just landed next to me as well. And I do find butterflies get attracted when you start moving and transmuting sexual energy. Butterflies get attracted. So I'm going to just do this again. Now, just bear in mind, it is important to practice the microcosmic orbit before you start, and get good at it before you start moving your sexual energy, because it's easy to cause blockages if you're not going through it, by slowly clearing the blockages. So I'm going to just do this again. So I'm going to just focus into the sexual energy, move it into my coccyx, bring it up the spine, into the brain, and it just sets off this vibration in the brain. And I can feel this again, just a real serene, calm feeling in my body, and just it's like more clarity in my head. I can just feel like, you know, my concentration improving, and especially like visually, things just are a lot clearer as well. And yeah, I mean, I absolutely love this practice of transmuting sexual energy, what we call like returning the jing to feed the brain. So basically taking that sexual life force energy, and rather than seeing it as a frustration we need to get it out of our bodies, actually like bringing it up, and especially like feeding the brain. So giving ourselves this kind of like mental power and mental clarity that we can use in our daily life. And of course, when we do this, it's always important to remember that our heart, make sure our heart is getting enough of that energy as well, because when the sexual energy comes up into our heart, this is actually where the energy basically like starts to transmute, and where the magic basically really starts to happen, so that the two energies, the orgasmic and the love energy, start to amplify. So I always like to give my heart a little smile when I'm doing this as well. And just remember, this is the single most important thing if you're transmuting sexual energy, if you're practicing semen retention, to remember, smile to your heart and just really get the feeling, that lovely energy there.